So group work is what I recommend. I also recommend individual work, but group work is very important. And group work, as you know, I'm sure several of you, many of you do group work. Some of you may do research on group work, at least I hope you do. And one of the things that is really important about group work is that people who are in groups learn from each other. It's just an incredible learning process just to be in a group, seeing how other people express what's happening and how they're dealing with it. And denial, if they see people they identify with, they often are able to break through and admit what's going on and start making connections. And they also believe that civilians, who's the rest of us, don't get it. Like one man said, he murdered his fiancée and his 2 children who he claimed he loved, and his therapist couldn't understand that. And he said to me, you know, she's so naive, she doesn't get it. She doesn't get how you can love somebody and also kill them. So it is important that they do group work, but they do need individual work, because then they can, if they respond to it, I think they would want individual work as well to talk in more depth about what's happening in the group and what's happening with them. And then the values underlying the group work, you want to respect their autonomy, their dignity, and do no harm. And that's really a big, big thing.
The intervention that we're proposing would be small groups, 4 to 5 members. And since the content or the information that they will talk about in the group is going to be really difficult and hard to talk about and hard to manage as well. And so the idea of a group, you know, you've got a group of people who understand that they're not the only ones going through the same experience, having the same feelings, and so they can gain insight and awareness from each. Intervention is a supplement, it's not like a standalone. So if, you know, there's a treatment program in a facility or a treatment program, this would supplement it. The facilitators of the group should have some experience with mindfulness practice as well as working with perpetrators. If you work with perpetrators, you could understand why.
But in this group, a lot of self-regulation exercises. It's really important before you deal with anybody who's committed interpersonal violence, that you teach them first how to manage all the stuff that comes up. So if they feel themselves ready to go off, you can just stop everything and say, okay, we're going to do some sort of self-regulation exercise. That's really important for people who have experienced trauma too, and some perpetrators have experienced trauma. So you have to keep that in mind. You have to, when you're dealing with people who have hot issues like this, they must know how to self-regulate. And you can do a guided meditation. Some of you may know what that is. We can talk about it later. And then you do a lot of discussion of the meditations. You do a lot of discussion of what's going on internally. And then you want to have a discussion at the end of the group. What went well, and then you do a final self-regulation exercise. The last thing you want to do is to have people in dysregulated states leaving the group. So what's next? We have to develop how we're going to evaluate this, and I already have some ideas, and it's almost all qualitative. I don't even know if I want any quantitative parts. I have to find sites, test the model, evaluate the model, revise the model. Now this is classic intervention research. What you saw, the structure that you saw that we presented, is classic intervention research. So I hope I stimulate you to start thinking about interventions. You know, we know our clientele well, and we are well positioned to develop really effective interventions. We don't have to borrow them from other people.